It's not too early to have some fun, right? It's never too early to have some fun. Hey, gang, what's going on? Hope you're all doing well. So, obviously, we'll get the Yankees lineup to you later for game 2 against Baltimore Orioles. They dropped 2-0 decision last night. They played again today. We got Corbin Burns on the hill tomorrow, so it's going to be an important game that they win tonight, but we'll see. But today, I want to give you my early 2024 MLB trade deadline predictions. I'm just going to give you 5 of them, okay? And I want to know what your thoughts are, okay? I'm going to, as we get closer, we're still months away from the deadline, but there's some teams that are positioned to very likely be sellers or buyers for that regard. So, this is stuff I really, really enjoy talking about. So, if you happen to be a baseball fan, especially a Yankee fan, you're not subbed to this channel, hit that sub button right now, okay, and hit the notification buttons too before you leave as well. That way, when I do go live, you'll know exactly when we do. When we put out content, you'll know exactly when it happens, and you'll be at the front of the line to get it. And again, I thank you so much for it. So we are on the march to 21,000 subs. We're a little over 100, a little over 100 subscribers away. So your support means the world. So, and again, let me know what your thoughts are too of these. If you have predictions of your own, let's get into it. And obviously, the predictions will probably evolve. So I'll probably give me updated ones soon, and then I'll give my final trade deadline predictions like the week of the deadline, which is still months away. But trade prediction number 1: the Atlanta Braves, since they lost to Spencer Strider due to Tommy John, I have them acquiring one of the starting pitchers from the Seattle Mariners, whether it be Logan Gilbert, or Bryce Miller, or Brian Wu, one of these guys, or even Luis Castillo, for that regard. I don't know who, but I have them acquiring, using some of their prospect and young player depth to acquire one of the starting rotation pitchers from the Seattle Mariners. They're deep in pitching. They're relatively light in hitting, but they could both use, and the Braves could use another pitcher. The Mariners can use another young hitter, or something, or a combination of young prospects and hitters. So that's prediction number 1. I don't know who it's going to be, but I have a feeling that the Braves are going to acquire one of the Marlins pitchers, and they're being talked about. One of them is even being linked to like Yankees already. So that one, Logan Gilbert, that one I would keep an eye on. I would definitely keep an eye on. And I'll keep you updated on it either way. Prediction 2. Okay, I'm looking at my notes here. I want to make sure I get it right. I want to make sure I have the right order too. The Miami Marlins are going to trade Luis Arias. They're going to realize that they're going nowhere. All right, they're not going to be good anytime soon. They're going to trade Luis Arias and one of their relievers, either AJ Puck or Tanner Scott or one of these guys. Okay, and I think they're going to trade him to the Chicago Cubs, who could use both. Okay, the Padres might be fit, but I think Chicago Cubs, they're not an in-league rival. They're in the National League Central, not the East. And the Cubs have a top 5 farm. They have enough to give the Marlins what they would look for in a trade. And the Cubs could use an impact leadoff hitter at the top and another arm in the bullpen. Okay, so I have Arias and a reliever from the Marlins going to the Chicago Cubs. Next up, I have the St. Louis Cardinals trading this man, first baseman Paul Goldschmidt. I have him trading Paul Goldschmidt to the San Diego Padres. I think the Padres are going to try to, improve as much as they possibly can after losing Juan Soto. And I think Goldschmidt gives them a solid veteran presence, and they don't really have anybody notable at first base and a good potent righty bat there to add to the Padres offense, which is pretty potent now, but it's still, lacking stability in so many words. So Paul Goldschmidt, I do think that the one of the big 2, Goldschmidt or Arenado, most likely Goldschmidt, is going to be traded from the St. Louis Cardinals and put in the NL West and potentially another playoff race. So, and some young controllable players will come back to the St. Louis Cardinals. Okay, now speaking of that, I have the Cardinals making a second trade, acquiring this man, Pete Alonso, from the New York Mets. So they're going to replace Paul Goldschmidt at first base with Pete Alonso from the Mets. Okay, I think the Mets are going to decide too that they're not any close to being good, and they are in a pretty deep financial hole, and they're going to have to move on from a soon-to-be very expensive contract like Pete Alonso, which is all admission to that they're very likely not going to sign Juan Soto, despite what a lot of Mets fans say. Okay, but the Cardinals will have they have a young dynamic nucleus already of young dynamic players they get sent to the Mets in a trade, and maybe add them to what they might acquire from San Diego to a package to get Pete Alonso, who's younger than Paul Goldschmidt, but no less potent at the offensive bat. So that's a double whammy for the St. Louis Cardinals right there. Tied to the Padres, and then on the back end, tied to the Mets. And the last one, number 5, are the Chicago White Sox continuing their offloading. And they're also like the Marlins, not anywhere near from being good. They just stink. So I have them offloading some more weapons. And I have them trading both Eloy Jimenez and relief pitcher Garrett Crochet. Not necessarily in the same trade. I think the Yankees will go after Garrett Crochet hard. To add another weapon in the bullpen if he becomes available. And Eloy Jimenez can provide value to a lot of teams. But I have them trading them in separate trades, getting decent return for both of them, and kind of starting their slow rebuild. So those are my 5 early MLB trade deadline prediction trades. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you have any of your own, leave them in the comments. We'll talk about it. Okay. I'll have the lineup for you later on when it comes out for the Yankees against they're playing the Orioles in Camden tonight. It's 6:30. I think it's 6:35 or 6:40. Okay. And this is a second of 4 games and another stretch of tough play for the Yankees. So stay tuned for that. Let me know what you think, what your thoughts are on this one. Give me your own. Let's talk about it. Peace.